Okay, hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Wandering Stone Podcast. It is I, Scott, a host of this show. Alongside me is the one and only Ebenezer,
Hello.
the
How
other
we
host of the
doing?
show.
I'm here.
That's right. Together we are the production, the talent, the director, the everything of this film, of this whole shabam.
We are the intern and the director.
Yeah. And last week was a doozy, the longest episode to date, and I don't plan to exceed that time.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's wrong. It's just that I don't have anything to talk about for that long.
You never know, right? Dig deep. Dig deep.
This is well, that's a good segue because I am going to dig very deep in this episode, and hoping
Ooh.
to get to dig pretty deep with you together as one. Yes,
Of course. Digness and deepness. I can
yes.
do.
So on that note, what's going on in your world?
It's been a long week. I'm about to finish up this job. It should be ending by the end of the month, which I'm actually so happy about because I just don't want to work. I don't want to work there. I just like I honestly just want to spend more time working on all the school stuff I've been doing and make more time for projects. But there's like two, what's that saying you always say that I hate? You're like, there's two dogs inside
There's
of
two
me.
dogs inside of me. Two wolves inside of me. Got that dog
And
in them.
one exactly. One of them's like, yo, let's just keep getting paychecks. And the other one's like, bro, let's just like do something part time so that we have more project time. And I'm on the fence. But I think I'm leaning towards part time. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm very much in the I just let things happen to me because it's usually I hate to say it, women, you're right, men do fall up. I do only fall into good things most of the time. So
And that's obviously
so I'm just I'll let it see what happens. But other than that, the week's been good. I'm grateful. I'm alive. My legs are together. I'm not in the hospital. We breathing. Um, what else is going on? That's really it for the most part. That and just a lot of this week was a lot. It was like a heavy. What do you call it? Heavy storytelling lectures this week. So you boys been learning about stories, and I'll tell you right now, every teacher uses Star Wars.
yeah,
Every teacher. And the
it's
worst part
goaded.
is, it is. It's good. It is good, dear listener. You're not wrong. But I just only vaguely remember Star Wars. Look, I'm not the Star Wars fan who brought a lightsaber to the movie theater. I'm the Star Wars fan whose friend was like, "Yo, there's Jedi," and I was like, "Oh yeah, that. Sounds cool." And I checked out. I was like, "Yeah, it was cool." So I just vaguely remember the concepts. So now I feel like I need to rewatch it. Or at least the first three. Those are the only ones I really liked, I think.
Like the first original three, like before the
Yeah,
prequels.
yeah. Before the prequels, I didn't like the prequels, and I didn't like the anything after. Anything after Luke like fighting Dark Vader and all that, not really my jam.
Yeah,
But I need to watch those. Other than that, it's been a little bit of a packed week. Your boy's tired. I've been sleeping way too much because my body knows I'm tired.
that's a good thing. Need the
I don't
rest.
know. I'll rest when I'm dead. All right, I need to work. I need to go. That's great.
Uh, I mean, I kept hearing that sentiment in college all the time, and you know what? He passed, so I guess it is
But
worth it.
it is worth it. Look, hear me out, dear listener. There's like only one piece of advice I'll ever take from my old man, and he was like, you can either have fun now and suffer later, or you can suffer now and have fun later.
Yep.
And he was right. He was right, guys. When I suffered prior, I had fun later. So I'm gonna just suffer now because it'll be all right later.
It's also a lot harder because when you're older, you can't really do as much as you can now.
That is so true.
Yeah.
But
But
yeah.
Um, on my end of the boat, I am no longer sick, so that's pretty cool. I do eventually. What? What do you mean?
Took a month. I feel like you should be healing faster.
I did heal pretty fast. 1 month is my
Like,
ETA.
yeah.
I was on time. Um, but
Oh
I did
god.
heal from the illness of the cold, and I do have a lingering coughing up with the mucus. Because what normally happens is I would eat food, and then the food would disrupt the mucus in my throat, and it'll make me want to cough it up. But besides that, I am pretty good. I can eat all the good foods again. I can, take a deep breath and not die. So that's nice.
Oh god.
Yeah, it's gonna be so great. So happy. But speaking about your topics, like this episode is gonna be very chillax, a little bit deep, a little bit personal, a little bit philosophical, and just like a open brain. I want to say open brain academy, but it's not open brain academy.
No, I feel like we can get there. Open Braid Academy.
Well, that's a game.
I
That's
feel.
why
Is it really?
I didn't want to say that word. Yeah,
Oh, yeah, we're not sponsored.
because remember that game, like Big Brain Academy. That's what it's
No,
actually
what was
called,
that?
Big Brain Academy, the Switch game. Watch it not
Big
be called
brain.
that.
No, 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 you're right.
Yeah, Big Brain
Big Brain
Academy.
Academy.
Yeah.
Brain versus brain.
It's a game where it tests your IQ and you test to see how good you are, and you can compare it with other people.
Dang.
So it's pretty cool. But the reason why I wanted to talk about some chill topics tonight is because currently I'm having a semi not midlife crisis, but post teenage crisis. Right?
Quarterlife crisis.
Am I at the quarter yet? I don't think I'm there yet. I think it's
That's the quarter.
like early adulthood crisis.
You're at the quarter-life crisis, dude. Unless you're waiting for a bigger one.
I'm gonna assume there is one because that's where the title comes from. I think that happens after like I get kids or something, right?
That's the midlife crisis.
Oh shit.
This is the quarter. This is the
Oh,
quarter. You get halfway there.
I guess this is the quarter life crisis. But the reason why this stems is because I plan on quitting my job. Now that sounds like
Mm.
nothing serious, but to me that's pretty serious. And the reason why is because I'm the type of guy that can basically go to any job and just turn off your brain and be like, all right, I get a paycheck. I'm chill with it. So that's what I did for about almost 4 years of my life, almost a high school time. Because after high school, I went to college like everyone else mostly. And I did that. Except the problem is, I didn't complete college. I dropped out at the very end because I'm a quitter and I'll always be known for that. It's a blessing and a
Dear God.
curse.
Why are you roasting yourself? You know.
No, it's because it's true. The bottom
Not.
line, the best thing to do on paper is to get that paper. But the right thing to do at that time was what I did now, which is to just quit and not look back. And I'm not saying that I regret going to college. I'm just saying that financially speaking, it was not a good choice to just drop out at the very end of the race. That's just a big no-no. But because of that, I had to pick a career that is a little bit harder to come by because you don't have a paper that says that you're smart, right?
Yeah.
And so I went to a hospitality career. I don't want to say which job profession I have because I feel like it's weird. Is it weird to say what I
Yeah.
have right now? Or is it
I
okay?
don't
Because in the
know.
future, no one's going to care.
I think no one would care, but also it's like whatever you're comfortable with.
Well, I'll just say I, well, if I do say the career now, it's going to incriminate the past statements I said before. But by then, I'm hoping in the future it won't matter.
It's like 20 years from now, you're working the same job. You're like, oh shit,
Oh, goddamn.
they got me.
Okay, I'll just say I work at a casino, right? I'm not going to say which casino I work at, but I do work at a casino. And as you can probably guess, working at the casino isn't really the best because it's basically like working at a factory, except the people are yelling at you for stuff you can't change because
Yes.
they spent money,
Yep. Yep.
right?
Yep. Yep.
So it also smells like smoke, like
I
24/7.
hate that. Yeah, I don't know how you.
I'm okay with it because I'm not on the floor. I'm actually like in the offices, and that's where I got lucky. So when I
Oh,
first came out of college, I worked like the reception basically, and so I
yeah.
helped greet guests and with all their problems. And I heard anything you probably could have heard of, and I've seen people do some questionable stuff, which I will not talk about because I feel that's a different tale for a different time. And I was very happy with that job. My coworkers were cool most of the time. My boss was great. And I came to realize that everyone that works in the industry, in my building at least, is really cool. Like, they actually just are really nice. They want to help you out. All the guests, oh man, that's not something I want to go back to. And so I decided to transfer to a different department, which is basically an office gig. I had a cubicle, I had a phone, like a direct number to call me, and my name was on the paper of like to call list. You know what I'm saying? Like I was official. I had a plaque.
Official office worker.
Official office worker. The dream, right? The 9 to 5 dream.
So they say.
Yeah. And I enjoyed that job. And to be honest with you, I'm in that job right now. And I currently still like the program. I like my coworkers. But the thing is that sometimes you sit down your 9 to 5 and you're like, why am I working this 9 to 5? And you look up at the bleak lights of like the fluorescent
Yes.
bulbs with no windows, and you're like, ah, damn, this is my life now, huh? Just doing this shit, staring at a computer. And then a couple weeks go by, and you're like, damn, I'm pretty okay with this. I got a paycheck coming in tomorrow. Like, I'm gonna be fine next week. And then this eventual cycle seems to happen where you're just like happy but not happy at the same time. And that's where like the comfortability and like um not redundance, but acceptance of the situation comes in, right? And so recently I decided to quit that job. And it's not currently the best decision because this company gives everything that you could ever want in terms of like benefits, pay, hours, and I guess time. Because like my boss is super cool with the schedule and stuff, and the company gives you pretty good benefits, there's not really a reason to leave, right? And so I was trying to decide, is it okay to try something new that's not guaranteed to be as good as this, right? And the bottom line is, how selfish do I want to be in terms of my career and my choice of like goal in life? And it's pretty hard for me to answer that because I don't really know what I want to do in life still, right? But speaking for Ebenezer real quick, it was low key kind of inspired by him. Now, I'm gonna let him cook in a second and have him fact checked everything I'm gonna say. But this Ebenezer guy over here, he is a guy that graduated college, got a government job. Now, you could probably find out his records just because it's a government job. But that proves the point that he basically could retire basically at like 60 or 65, you know? Like the dream for everyone living this day and age. He was making the bread, he was making the dough. And then one day he woke up and it was like, Scott, I'm going to quit and I'm going to learn animation. And I'm like, what? Because I'm a fan of animation. I love animation. I love watching it. I love learning how people do it. The amount of fucking work that goes into it. It's insane because it just tells the story so perfectly. That's not reality, but could be reality. But the fact of that story is just uh, Ebenezer left his comfy gig to do something that's not as comfy potentially, because the art industry is very, very selective and fierce, and the chances of him getting something is very hard. But he left that all, he left the good life, quote unquote, behind. So I just wanted to know, like, is it like selfishness? Is it because you just felt like you're running out of time? Is it because you were just like, it's all good? Explain your side of the story, because I've been rambling on.
Well, well. First and foremost, you need to be way more selfish. I think my reason why I think everyone should be selfish in the sense of what they need to do for themselves is that I think at the end of the day, only you are going to be the one who feeds yourself, like you're going to wake up and wipe your own ass. At least until like, you have kids that care about you enough to do it for you. And so I definitely think like whenever there's an opportunity for yourself, take it even if you have to sacrifice a few like peons on the side. And I think as you kind of get older, you kind of can come to terms with things you can give up. Because I definitely for like when I was younger, it was very much like I want to be great at everything, so I'll give up nothing. Perfect, it will work out. And That's not how it works. You have to give up a little to get something. And to that now, for me, I would say like you're 100% right. Like it was the cushiest job. And like I kid you not, dear listener, I would go there, I could sleep for 6 hours, and I would still be told I did a great job. All right, and I was making very good money. The type of money where I could buy like do two of Scott's bad purchases and still be like, all right, let's go out for another.
That basically means two anime figures.
Like I was making good money. They wanted to promote me. It was like all the things like you have that like adult checklist where they're like, "Oh right, you go to school for this, and you work the job to get to this level to make this money, etc., etc." Now, for me, it's like the same thing you had like where you're in the casino where it's like one day like reality clicks in and you're like, "Oh God, I've been here for a while. The paycheck's good, but the environment's not really what I want to be at." And I think for me, there's this long process. I like to, as spontaneous as I am, there is very like key moments where I'm very, like I have to mull something over. Like it'll take me 3 months to convince myself to do a big leap, and then a lot of times it'll look spontaneous, and then it'll be like, oh, it worked out. It's because I kind of planned it out a bit. But a lot of the times I will do like dumb spontaneous stuff. Like Scott knows, I'll like quit a job if I don't like it, like within the first 2 days. And
Yeah.
they'll be like, "What you just?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's not me." And like, dear listener, Scott's right. You shouldn't do that. I did it. Luckily, nothing bad happened to me. But I can't guarantee that for. I
Yeah,
cannot
that's the
guarantee
reason why
that.
people give 2 weeks notice.
Yeah, like people should. I did not. They'd be like, "You should do 2 weeks," and I would go, "Nah." I would just make up anything in the world, honestly. Like, ah, nah, I can't. My foot hurts. Nah, I'm going across seas.
I stubbed my toe today.
Yeah. Like, man. But I just remember the final months of me contemplating when I wanted to switch out of the job, and a lot of it because that year I told Scott I was like, yeah, this is a year where I'm gonna do all the stuff. I just kind of put on pause because I was told you should go to school, you should go in IT, you'll get a job, make money. And so this year I just kind of spent exploring all the things that I was interested in, but I was like too afraid to kind of like do the full jump. And so a lot of things we did, Scott was there for it all. Like when we wanted to do drawing, and then I gave you that drawing pad. Like when we wanted to write a book, and so we wrote like just nothing but world build stuff.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed all those kind of things. And I would just like they were just little tastes and dabs. And as like the year went by, I would take bigger jumps. Like I wanted to do a business, so I did it with James, and it was so fun. It crashed and burned. But let me tell you something, dear listener. I would do it again, honestly. And it kind of gave me that boost of confidence of like the world doesn't fall apart just because you take like big leaps that they like you don't like told to take. But towards the last final months, I remember just mulling over like my life decisions. And I was watching some like Dr. K mental health videos because me and James had like this similar like me and James were in the same like thinking pattern of like, work sucks, but the money's good. The money's good, but the work sucks. Like, whatever. And it came up to this term that like really resonated with me. And so he didn't have a term exactly for it, but me and James kind of came together and like, oh, it's called what is I'm blanking on it now. I don't want to say the wrong word. Not unplanned success, undirectional success. So it's like where you do well in a direction that you didn't really plan for, and it's just going well. So you just keep going down that path, even though it's not really what you want or it's not what you planned on doing. But it's like, oh, it's the best road, you know. The rocks are stable. I know where it's leading to, etc., etc. And so the video kind of talked about this kind of like cycle where it's like the man. I didn't watch the video in a while, so I don't really resonate with now because I'm not in that stage of my life. But
That's fair.
essentially, it was you kind of reach this point where when you have a kind of enough things satisfied in your life and you can kind of reflect on the things that aren't so like monetarily needed for yourself, it kind of helps you gauge what you're willing to risk. And so in the video, his whole shtick was like the guy like he flunked school, doing terrible, just played video games, fucking gooner, you know. And he's like, I need to get my life together, I think. And he just left America and went to India to be a monk, to be like a legit like, you know, shave your head, don't look up Instagram hoes, like meditate all day all night monk. And he came down the mountain, not a monk, and was like, I think I'm ready to rejoin society. And it very much I resonated with that where it's like I need a break from what I was told to do. And it was very similar in the sense of like he was told to do X, Y, and Z, and he was doing it, and it was like just making his life like set on fire. And I think for a lot of people, you'll do a lot of work, and you'll internally feel like it's like you're on fire, but outside's like, oh, everything's going great, you know, it's going well, you know, green box checked, money's coming in. And I also notice this too when I talk with a lot of my coworkers now. Most of my coworkers, they know the same story, similar to what Scott knows. They're like, I had a really well-paying job, and now I'm just doing whatever while studying what I like. And so they have tons of questions, and their perspective is very similar to Scott. It's like they're doing a job, none of them are truly in love with it or anything to that extent, but like it, you know, this is where money leads, and you know, I'll figure out when I figure out. And I think for each person, it's like each person will hit that stage of what you're willing to give up for your own satisfaction at different parts of your life. And I think because I like I put my life on like 10x a lot of the times because that can be pretty intense. It's like I just hit those like meters a lot earlier because like I did that bachelor's program in like 5 months, and that was extreme. Like 2 years of school in 5 months was intense. Like getting a high like or like an adult job in like 2 to 3 months, and then they're gonna promote me. That was intense. But I don't know. I I think for me, I don't really know how to say like what advice I could give to other people to the extent other than gauge what you want and gauge what you think you don't really need, like that doesn't really give you joy every day outside of a paycheck, I guess.
But like you also operate by safety nets. Like you have to have
I
a plan
do.
B in case plan A fails. And you're very hesitant to
Yeah.
go into plan A unless you have that plan B, you know?
That is 100% true, but I feel like that's instilled by our parents. Like our parents are very like your parents will tell you like do any work as long as it provides like a health insurance, you know, things like that.
Yeah.
My parents were very much because I didn't really want to even like do a degree to begin with. I honestly wanted to be like a cinematographer, like do camera stuff, because I was like that was the closest thing to creative that I thought they would be like okay with. Because you know you could trick your parents and be like, oh, you know, camera, you know, equipment. They're like, nah, no, 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 no. You be doctor, you work on computers. But I definitely built those safety nets, and I think maybe a couple years ago I would have said I regretted it because it was a waste of time. But honestly, I think without those safety nets that I did, I don't think I would be able to handle doing the big leap that I am now. Because my worth ethic comes from a lot of like the small pushes I did, making a safety net that I'm not even using anymore. And I think it comes from like that same lesson from another video I watched where there's a lot of unrelated experiences in life that kind of feed into other unrelated things in your life unintentionally. And I think like a good example is like you're a okay, you're a stay-at-home husband, right? But you used to be a Marine. And so you have all these kind of Marine-like traits that you don't really need to be a house husband for, but they instill good things that you should do as a house husband, you know? Like you clean up your area, you make sure you wake up on time to like get certain chores said and done, you know. You make sure food is prepared at certain times of day, you make sure like the car is fixed, things of that nature.
Yeah.
And even though like they're not related in any real form, they still kind of feed into each other. And I think I got a lot of those skills doing the safety net.
Well, I say that because recently I started to believe that there's like two people in this world. There's the selfish people and the stubborn people. The selfish people are the people that will have a dream in mind and just go for it. Like if they want to have a camper van and explore the world for X amount of years, they're just gonna do it. They're just gonna go out there, explore the world, get some odd jobs, just see what they want to see, and find their own meaning to their existence. And then the stubborn people are the people who are stuck at a job because they need to support the people around them. And they're stubborn enough to maintain the grind set to, you know, get money basically to maintain their position so that their future kids, their future family, and also the family before them that needs money, that needs help, can have that support. And you can't really do one or the other. You has to it's like mutually exclusive because if you go and be selfish now, then there's a very little chance you're going to make a lot of money to support the people that are around you. And then if you're stubborn, by that time you might go on the money. You're going to be way too old to be into the let's explore the world time, but like with the youthful joy to like go up the mountain because you're just like, damn, that's a lot of stairs.
I almost agree with you, and I think I would have maybe like 2 years ago. I think the selfish person and the stubborn person are the same type of person. I think for me, I feel like for my like two types of people I think are in the world. It's like there's people that are content, and then people who they can't really be content with like the normal things in life. And so I view like content in the sense of you could flip burgers and be okay with just clocking in, or you can be a nurse and you're okay just like cashing in the check, and like you don't need to study anymore, and like this is it, like you don't want to do any higher mountains. And then I feel like for the people who are uncontent, I mean they're not content with like the smaller things. It's like I flip a burger, but like maybe I want to own a chain restaurant, and it's outlandish, right? You're gonna the burger guy, like you flip burgers, you tell them you want to own a chain restaurant, they're gonna laugh at you a little bit. And I feel like that dictates a lot of the people in our world who are like exorbitantly successful and absorbently just kind of not successful for the most part. And I think being selfish and stubborn kind of is the same coin in that sense for when you're content. Because I feel like if you're selfish and you don't want to change, it's no different than you being stubborn and you don't want to change. I mean, I feel like the benefits might be somewhat different, but I don't think so to like such a degree that they're two separate people. I would definitely say though that you could still be selfish and be uncontent, and you can be selfish and be content. Like you're selfish enough to like you don't need to spare any of your extra change that you get, even though you're living a like content lifestyle of paychecks come in, bills are paid, I can go and watch a movie. But that's how I view the world for the most part.
No, that makes sense. I'm just saying, like, what if the selfish person is working that like burger flipping job and they're perfectly content with that burger flipping job? Like, don't want to own a chain restaurant. They just want to work some random jobs to get, just the paycheck coming in.
Yeah.
And like their family has some medical bills they have to pay, like someone's in the hospital, something like that. And then that person is it wrong for them to just minimally support their family? Like, what if they want to go explore again and, you know, little
I
Timmy
see.
broke his ankle?
I think in that case, I would say you're selfish as a person, but yeah, I would say you're selfish as a person. Because I think in my definitions, I view it more for in the sense of like either career or life direction.
Okay.
Because yeah, I feel like that's just like a person, like, because you could be a selfish person to that extent, and you could still be on like either or of that coin. But I don't know if that how that affects like the trajectory of your life. I mean, other than like you have less people in your personal bubble to care about.
I don't know. Just thinking because I feel like American society is very like individualized, and then
Oh yeah.
Asian society is very like family orientated, and like probably for you too in your uh what is it, African society.
Yeah.
It's very family orientated because it's kind of how it is. Like in America, it's all about like you're gonna be your own boss, you're gonna do your own thing, and you'll be out of my house by 19 or 16, you know.
Yeah.
And then
That is.
for the Asian and African, it's basically like we are a group of people that will help each other because blood is thicker than water. So
Yeah.
if you need
You're
me,
not
call
wrong.
me.
Which people would you say is more successful in your definition for stubborn to selfish people?
Well, that's where that kind of stems from, because I feel like the selfish people are people like the American view society, where you kind of take the life into your own hands, you do your own thing, and then you kind of just say, everyone around me is a stepping stone to my success. And if I feel justified doing what I have to do, then it works out. But then the stubborn people are the people where in the East, Asian and African place where it's like, we work as a team. And if you ever need help, just call me and we'll help. We'll work it out together because we're one big group. That's how we all survive.
I see. No, that makes a lot of sense.
That's kind of where my mindset came from to basically justify the two titles. Do I think
So
of it
then
as a
we,
black and white? No, I mean not really. I just said it in that term so that it's a little bit more understandable for the
yeah.
yeah.
So then for you then, when you say you want to be more selfish, you want to think less about your family in order to choose what you want to do.
I feel like I have to because the way that my dad put it, he was basically just like we're all like he planted a tree, right? And what he can do to that tree is he can put a stick down when it's really windy, tie it there so it stays upright, cover it when it gets too hot, water it every day. But at the end of the day, if the tree grows up strong, it's up to the tree. But he can still influence it to maintain its growth and survival, right? And if the tree wants to get up and leave after all the effort that the parent put in, it's kind of like, bro, I gave you the perfect spot, and you're just gonna walk up and leave because what? What was wrong with it?
I see your point.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Then you know what? Then I want to addendum what I think then. I think you should be selfish, but I think there's other things you can cut out before you cut out like the most important people in your life to get what you want.
because I don't plan on cutting out my family. To me, my family is the most important. They're always going to be number one.
Yeah,
But in their eyes, if I don't make money in a very successful way that has, all the things that qualify for a checklist of an adult job, then you're not supporting the group, and therefore you're a failure.
I see.
And there
Mm.
have been people within my family that have gone the individual routes, and I'm gonna say none of them have turned out well. I'm not saying that I will be the outlier, but they did not go down any good paths. Tell you that much for
Well,
sure.
I feel like you could still go after what you want while still being selfless in your case. Because really, it sounds like what you need to do is not only leap to what you think you want to do, but keep them as involved even when they disagree with you. And I definitely can relate to that because it's like a hard thing to kind of convince your parents who are in like this set of mind, like this is what they only view as success. So they don't see anything outside of those blinders.
Yeah.
And I think in my case, because my parents definitely like think I was gonna, they were like think I was gonna be a burnout, 100%. When I was like, when I left Stockton, I was like, I'm not gonna do doctor, and I was like, I don't want to be a nurse. And they're like ready, put a little money down in me, and they're like, bro, what are you doing with your life? And then I'm like, I want to be a cameraman, and they're like, oh, he's fucked, he's cooked, he's cooked.
No, that's my parents too. Except you got the paper and you got the job, and now you have an idea. You have a semblance of an idea of what career you want to go towards next. I don't
That
really
is
have that because I can't. I enjoy like cinematography like you, except I'm
yeah,
not as interested in the camera stuff. I'm more interested in like editing, like VFX and animation. But I'm also interested in stuff like streaming or video like producing and stuff. And
yeah,
that career is like yours, very uh
shaky.
sketchy. Yeah,
Yeah,
sketchy. Except yours is more sketchier than mine, I believe, because
it is.
yeah, you actually
It is.
have a job to apply to, like studios, and I could apply to companies, but those companies are few and far from, you know, the spotlight.
I
So
will say, yeah, no, you're right.
yeah, and
Well,
so that's why when
I,
they asked me like, "Hey, what do you want to do after you quit this job? Like, what's lined up?"
what
I
did you
just
say?
literally said, "I don't have anything right now. I just want to try something new." And then they were like, "But
That's scary to a parent.
that's the problem." Yeah, they
Yeah.
said that they don't like that because you never know what you want to do. And then I said, "If I stay at the same job for the rest of my life, not knowing what I want to do, how would I find out what I want to do if I never leave this job?"
Ooh, you kind of cooked on that one.
And then they were just like, "Yes,
Yeah,
but
you cooked on that one.
also it's scary."
No, you cooked on that. That was the perfect answer. Holy shit.
Yeah, I that came out. Yeah, I know. Say that's what happens when you don't have a
Yeah.
full frontal lobe. You get one good idea, and then it's all gone. But that's what I
Oh
told
man.
them, and then they were kind of a little bit more better with it. Now I know my mom. She is well. My mom and my dad are both, in my definition, stubborn people. They
Yeah.
both put their nose down to the floor to earn money. They came to America not knowing a spick of English, and came up from nothing to something.
Yeah.
And they just don't want to see me suffer through that, because it's
Yeah.
tough. It really is. And I'm not saying that I'm not grateful for it. I am grateful for what I have. It's just I feel like if I have the opportunity to try new things, I want to be able to do it, even if it is a pay cut, quote unquote, or a dip in uh, momentary, momentary. Oh, yeah,
Like a momentary lapse.
yeah, momentary. Am I saying that right?
I feel like you're saying momentary.
Yeah, momentary, whatever word. It's a short lapse of time that feels like it's going to be very strange, scary, and dangerous, but it needs to happen. Which is
You
why I'm
are
still supporting
absolutely
my idea of quitting my job, even if I go to some random gig.
yeah.
Now, the job market here where we live is not the best.
It's bad. It's very bad. Yeah.
Very, very bad. I would
Yeah.
have to move either north, south, or west.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Anywhere but here, basically, which costs money.
That is so true. That's
Yeah.
the only problem. See, like everything you said is on point and right. Like I had maybe a year, a year and a half ago, I had a similar conversation with my parents, and I said something not as smart as you. I said something around the lines of, "You guys, I." This was at the time when I finally came to terms with my father and my mom with like, because we like had a bit of a tough love relationship. And it was very much like, why don't you just do your masters and do IT because you're so good at it. You're getting grades and whatnot. And I just kind of thought, and I was like, I was like, I don't want to sound ungrateful, but you guys made a very wonderful life for me and my siblings, and I feel like I want to take advantage of the opportunity I have to be able to like chase after things that other people can't. Because I acknowledge like if we were like down, poor, broke, I wouldn't like adamantly just jump and do big leap.
Oh
I
yeah,
would
we'll
just
be
like,
stubborn because you
yeah,
have
I would
to.
stubbornly work. Yeah, exactly. But it's because we have this opportunity. It's like even more the reason that we should do a leap, if anything else. But of course, I did the degree to more appease them because I was very much, I was trying to find peace. Honestly, it was not worth it. You know, it was worth it. It was worth the degree. Honestly, saved the relationship because it allowed my parents to give me room and respect. Because I think for parents, it's always this room of doubt of like, I don't want them to struggle like me or have to have it worser than I had, which I
Yes.
totally understand. And like now I get a lot of the frustration that will come with like when they say certain things they don't truly like mean to, intend to hurt you in that sense. And so I feel like a lot of times you have to find a way to prove to them like I can walk on my two legs. I won't drown.
Yeah, I agree. I
And,
agree.
and I know for you, Scott, you just need that moment where it's like, fine, like, hey, like if you got your first paycheck off of just video editing, your parents would, they wouldn't say anything after that.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
like the
yeah.
proof of life. For me, it was getting the degree in under 4 months. You guys, I remember pitching the idea too. I was like, hey, I'm thinking of doing my bachelor's. I won't work at all, and I'll do it in 4 months. And man, the look on my dad's face was just like, this guy's not doing it. Like, what? Yeah, I was like, so he didn't even say anything, you know. My dad's very much like the silent, being like bush on the face, you know, like no reaction, just like, hmm.
Hmm.
My mom's the very like, okay, okay. And then I did it, and they were like, "Oh, okay, he can do whatever he wants. He knows what he's talking about."
He earned it.
But you're right. You're right. You need your proof moment, but you also have like you were reasonably right with what you said, and I think they understand that. And I think you're right because 10 years from now, we won't have the same opportunities to do dangerous leaps, and if we did, we'll have to do with a lot more like netting below us.
Yeah, much bigger safety net.
Yeah. Dear listener, if you're having a similar problem at home, you know, you're trying to figure out what you want to do with your life. My recommendation, do if you don't have the space to leap, then create the space to do small hops in your life. For me, it was just doing that IT job and then doing little things with more intention of like full diving it. Like I was interested in music, so I tried to do music as if I was going to do as a career. I learned I didn't want to do it as a career, but I enjoy it as it is. You know, I try all the different things that you think you like while you have the opportunity to do them before life traps you in these different responsibilities that you'll get. Because no matter where you are, who you are, whether you live alone and you have no family whatsoever, as time goes on, you will have more responsibilities.
Yeah, he's right.
Yeah, life is cruel that way.
Well, on that note, do you think college is worth it?
No, I don't. Honestly, in this day and age, I would recommend most people not to go to college unless you absolutely know what you want because college is only good for two things. Now that I'm educated, and I won't say it's from school. It was not from school because I'll tell you one thing. I did not read a book through all my college years. I mean, I read textbooks, but I mean like actual knowledge that I could use on a day-to-day basis. When I read real books and I learned like, "Oh, this is how money works. This is why you shouldn't do that." School is a tool, and I think in at least America, I don't know how it is in other countries to the extent. In America, I feel like you're brainwashed at a young age to be like, if you don't go to school, you will work at McDonald's for the rest of your life. And McDonald's is hell. So go to school.
Yeah.
And you're young and you're impressionable and you're in the age and mindset of I want to do what I'm told from people who already kind of know more, even if you're rebellious to some extent. You understand, I will take advice from someone older than me. And I feel like that lets a lot of young people fall into the trap of I'll go to college, I'll figure out what I want to do. And then you leave with school debt and either with a degree you like, which is a 10% chance, a degree you don't like, which is like seems like now it's like a 40% chance, and then the 50% is like you hop between 2 to 3 degrees, and you're in like the waves of school right now, where you're like, all right, I'm not doing art anymore. I wanted to be a nuclear physicist, but I watered it down to computer science because I don't know if I really want to do it. And I think school is just too expensive as it is. And I think everything you can learn in school, you can learn online now. This isn't the 1950s where the only way you'll learn algebra is through a guy with a white beard. You can now just Google, you can Google a lesson that are plenty of free educational tools. But I also think a lot of people I think a lot of people got farmed at spawn. So now everyone is like really dumb and they don't utilize the free resources we have. So their mindset is just like, oh, I'll learn it at college.
Yeah, I agree because I feel like a lot of people went to college thinking they're going to learn everything,
Yeah.
and then they changed major 3 times, and then they're sort of falling behind.
Yeah, that's exactly. And I had a couple of, I had maybe 4 or 5 coworkers who were asking for career advice because I pretty much went through the chain already. And I honestly, it felt it was awesome to finally. A lot of the times when I had IT gigs, I felt a little guilty because I knew I didn't care about the gig. I just wanted the cash and the stepping stone, and I knew I took someone's spot who actually like wants to do the job. Because I would do a job, and the max I would be there is for 5 to 6 months, and I would hop to a better job. Now, it's not supposed to be good for your resume. I still get jobs. I think it's for me it's survivor bias. I just gotten like good situations and good recommendations. But for most people they don't have that same fortunate
So
luck.
connections.
Yeah. But I definitely would say for like people who are interested in IT now, you can learn it online and you can do a certification and you'll get the same job as someone with a degree. And the degree is what will get you a promotion. But a lot of the times, especially today's age, they don't care because companies can't afford to wait for you to get a degree. So they rather have you have the experience in a cert because it's applicable to what you actually do in the environment. And it's unfortunate. School doesn't just really teach you what happens in the real world anymore.
Well, I also think college isn't really worth it for everyone, but I think trade schools are because it's kind of hard to learn the mechanics of a car or plumbing through a video unless you're there in person actually doing the mock system of it, you know?
That is 100% true. And I think you're right because I don't consider skill like trade schools as college. I consider skill like trade schools as apprenticeship. Like you're actively doing the job. You're actively doing the job so that way you can have the job.
After it. Yeah.
And that's what I don't like about college because you don't really do a job, and so you'll go to like a common theme. And I'm only speaking to the sense of IT with all the people I've interacted with. It's I learned this large textbook, and I go to my first IT gig, and I use nothing of what I've learned except for the 10%. And I'd be like, yeah, you're right. And it's because what they're teaching you in a book is what they're supposed to teach you in a book, and it doesn't really apply, and it's very abstract to what you'll do in your day to day. And I'm not sure how it is for other careers that are very where knowledge is very abstract and you maybe can piece it together to your actual task at work. But I feel like a lot of education from colleges has become that. It's like it's just all abstract knowledge where it's like it's good to know, but it doesn't really help you do your job.
So I guess the bottom line is you should own, I believe, that for my bottom line, is you should go to college for at least a year or two, like max, if you don't know what you're doing, just to experience it. Because even though I dropped out, really appreciate the people that I met at college. They're some of the closest friends I have now, and a lot of people that I can learn from. Because some people are not good people, and you know they're not good people because you
Yeah.
viewed them,
Yeah. That's true.
and so you know not to follow their footsteps. But besides that, and if you don't know what you're doing for a college route, you just leave. And you did invest some money into it, but at least you satisfied the core curiosity of what if you went to college, right?
Yeah.
And so I think if you don't know what you want to do, your next best bet is to either do a trade school because then you're basically guaranteed the job because you're doing the job right then and
Yeah.
there. So it's kind of hard to not have a gig after that. Or just don't do college and do what Ebenezer said. Learn everything online, and if your specific job doesn't need the cert, a vacation of a college degree, then why go for it? You know?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think you're right. I think honestly, like the years you paid going to Stockton were worth it because you bought life experience.
I
Like I
bought a
very
lot
much
of
view a
life
lot of things.
experience.
Yeah, you bought a lot of life experience that you can't really experience just like living inside South Jersey, you know?
Yeah.
I think you had to be in those certain instances and events to be like, oh, I don't like this. I like that. That's not for me. That's for me.
Well, I will say, when we both started college, we both were coming in the mindset of like, this is a brand new start. This is a brand new area. We can be whoever we want to be. We can learn whatever we want to do,
Oh
and
yeah.
that's what we did. Um, but I will say that did have the caveat of in high school. I believe personally, this is a bias, that we have some pretty good taste in people, and by taste I mean personality, because we can view people and go, I'm probably not going to talk to you after this. Or we
This
can
would be
look
our
at
last.
someone and go, you want to get some lunch or something?
That is very true. I think we were pretty social in high school. You weren't as social in high school, and you blew up in college.
Yeah.
Like you became, yeah, you evolved so hard. It was like
I
Charmander to Charizard.
That's because when I first so the TLDR is in high school, I was a very quiet kid. I had like the full bangs that covered my eyeballs. I was sitting in the corner in the fetal position, and I loved it. That was my life back then. But, you can't live in that fetal position forever. Sometimes you want to stand up, crack your back a little bit and walk 2 feet to the right and go to the water fountain. So in order to do that, I went to college, and the metaphor I used was I was in an egg, and I had to burst out of the egg and see what was outside the world, you know? And I met some cool people, like I said, met some not cool people. But the main thing was I forced myself to interact with people. And thankfully, I had people that I knew, i.e., Ebenezer and some other friends from high school. But even without them, I I joined a club, joined some other random clubs, met some other random people. I'm not even going to tell you the story of how I became the vice president of the ping pong club, because that was just an anime scene in the making.
Yeah, that was that was like your own spin-off series. I remember you telling me,
That
and
was
I'm
the
like,
B plot.
what?
That was
Yeah,
actually the
it
B
really
plot.
was. It really was.
Yeah. And then we also had adventures with Ebenezer, like Swifter guy. I'm
Oh
not gonna
my
say his name
God.
out of the protection of his name. But I don't think you remember
Yeah.
his name. But I do.
I know I don't remember, but I know exactly you're talking about.
It's funny because Swifter guy was Ebenezer's friend.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. College was such a learning curve. It
Yeah.
was the life experience was so worth it. I have my youngest brother now. He's now starting at like the bachelor's college. And he was telling me how like, oh, he's very like us from high school. Like I just want to go do my classes and I want to get the hell out.
Yep.
And I told him, look, I know you don't like to be super social. That's fine. But I was like, take the opportunity to like meet people now because honestly, I will say the one worth it thing of college is that you'll never meet people and interact with them the way you would in college as you would anywhere else,
Oh yeah.
you know?
The
And
networking
I
is pretty
felt
good.
it is, and it's just like you built such like a stronger social understanding of yourself and how you can interact with people. Because I would like the last time we had a college experience feels like forever, and I definitely don't feel that when I interact with people outside of like work, whether it's work or like
No,
random
yeah.
places where people be like, "Oh, hey, I remember you," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, hello."
I mean, college is what you can make. Sorry, excuse me. College is what you make of it. So if you are of the I'm gonna go home club after classes, then it's gonna be pretty boring. But if you stick around, try to meet new people, do random clubs, observe the campus, then it might be a little more enjoyable. You might actually want to go to classes and I mean, I can't say that you. Maybe you can't. Maybe you really can't because your schedule is just that packed. But I feel like you should at least try to experience the people of the college,
I
not just the
completely agree.
classes.
Dear listener, if you're in college, I challenge you. Talk to one person this semester. Just one. Strike up try to find someone you can strike up a conversation of a similar interest. And I would recommend just going to a club that you already know of the same interest to save yourself the trouble, So you don't have to go to strangers and be like, "Hey, do you like Super Smash?"
Yeah, just go to the gaming club, and there you
Yeah,
go.
exactly. But man, yeah, college was great. I feel like we really milked it, and I enjoyed every minute of it.
I do miss it, which is surprising because a lot of shit happens.
It did. Honestly, it did.
Oh
But
man.
man,
Well, I guess the moral of this whole story is I want to have more talks like this because we're in that ripe age of what the hell's going on in life. So
oh yeah.
why not discuss it and put it in a not physical, in a permanent form of this recording, so that we can all look back on it and go, "Damn, they were so young back
Remember?
then."
Yep, yep.
Yep.
Journal if you can. I still go back and I listen to my old recordings, and I'm like, oh man, I know exactly how he's feeling right now. Man,
The cringe within.
the cringe within. It's kind of yeah, man, yeah.
But on that note, I'm going to quickly go through my recommendation.
Recommendation.
Originally, I was gonna do something a little more happy. Oh,
Oh,
you know what? No, I can't
do
do
what?
that.
Too happy.
Well, I was gonna say I finished the manga Orb about the movement of the Earth.
You did.
I did.
Wait, it's finished, or is it you just caught up?
Oh, it's done. The
Oh,
manga's
maybe I should
done,
read it then. Okay.
and I can't. I don't want to recommend it because you already recommended it like 2 episodes ago.
Yeah.
So I can't double recommend something. That'd be a waste of the recommendation section. So instead, I am going to go with my joke answer, I guess. And it's not really a joke answer. It's just 2025 is the year of Hatsune Miku because it got added to Fortnite recently. And by recently, I mean like a couple of months, last month, like relative to this episode.
Yeah.
And so it's been recircling around the internet of everyone's like, oh my god, Hatsune Miku, we love Miku. And half of them are joshing and joking because they see an anime girl and they're like, wow. But other half of them is like me and they're like, damn, I gotta play Fortnite because Hatsune Miku's in Fortnite. Because I've been a Hatsune Miku fan basically since my ye
Forever.
old days of middle school, high
Yep.
school. And the best part about Hatsune Miku is the whole Vocaloid genre. There's so many different composers and artists that make so many different styles of songs that you can find a Vocaloid song that you will like because she's translated it into every language almost. And there's sad songs, there's rock songs, there's pop, there's dubstep, there's anything you want. It's Hatsune Miku. You'll be fine. You can't go wrong with the twins or brother sister, Kagami Rin and Lin, Luca, Kaito, the Utaloids. There's the V Synth 5 stuff. Like there's so many stuff out there. But Hatsune Miku is the OG. I think fun fact, don't quote me on this.
Okay.
The voice sample for Hatsune Miku was a voice actor that just wanted to make some quick buck. So she sold her sampled voice to this company, and she's still a voice actor. But isn't that crazy? Like, imagine being a voice actor, selling your voice to a random company when you're like starting up just to make money to support your voice acting career. And then that sample turns out to be the most like multi-billion-dollar industry that you can't get any rights for because you sold your rights for your voice.
That's crazy.
Right? Isn't that
Dang.
crazy?
That is, and the fact that she's still working, I did not know that.
Well,
I'd
she
feel a
only
little bit.
did that to support her voice acting career. She
Yeah,
needed
she had no
money.
choice. Yeah,
I mean,
but I
but you
feel
can't
like
really blame her. She didn't know it was gonna
slighted.
pop off.
That is also true.
But still,
That's
that's
also
that's just like damn.
dear listener, copyright your voice right now.
Yep.
So you never know.
Audio jungle.
Oh
Audio
god,
jungle. You can't steal his laugh. That's our laugh.
that's the watermark.
Audio jungle.
Oh god. Oh, now I want to say my recommendation. I don't want to do another book because I've been book heavy this past 2 weeks. So I'm gonna recommend a guy, Brian Lee Mulligan from Dimension 20. If you want to listen to a zany story, I would recommend him. I like his storytelling. It's very comedic. It's very heavily comedic because the guy's very improv. He's pretty much a what's that? He's a theater kid that
Ah.
evolved. That evolved and was like enslaved all the other theater kids, and now he has his own domain. But it's pretty good stuff. I enjoy it when I need a quick laugh or not. But yeah,
Okay.
huh, yeah.
Well,
Well,
that's
dear
been
listener,
this episode.
yeah,
Um, Let us know if any of these thoughts resonated with you, conflicted ideas. Like tell us what you think about it because
yeah.
I'll read the comment section and
You will tell me the
maybe you're
comment
goaded. Maybe you
section.
have some really good ideas to share.
Yeah, put down what you want to do. Maybe you're on the fence. I hope you're not on the fence for too long. Do it. I'm very spontaneous, so I say if you're gonna die tomorrow, do it tonight, kind of thing.
Well, I will say, don't do suicide. That's not
No,
worth
no, no,
it.
no, no, no. Don't do suicide. But if you're gonna die tomorrow, do the thing you want tonight. Unless it's the suicide. Don't do the suicide. Don't do the suicide.
Okay. Well, on that
All right,
frightful
dear
note,
listener. Nice and happy.
nice and happy tones here. Thank you for listening to this. And
Thank
we will
you.
see you next week on another episode of this. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Bing bang boop.